All right. Hello, everyone. I would like to give a quick update on what's going on with a bit on the AI initiative and also with the Context Control Center. So, some updates here. My name is Kristen Pol. I'm with Salsa Digital, and I am the project lead for the Context Control Center, which, if you haven't heard about, I'll explain what that is. I'm also the program manager for the Drupal AI Initiative, and if you haven't heard what that is, I will also do a quick update there. All right, so the Drupal AI Initiative was announced last June, and there's a great blog post you could check out from Dries on that. And so we had a bunch of people get together in order to organize this, and Salsa was one of the founding members, and we started organizing it actually back in April of last year. So it's a big initiative and pretty cool stuff that we're doing. So the initiative is with a bunch of different partners and contributors that are working together to rapidly deliver responsible AI for Drupal. So the idea is to, rather than each company doing their own thing, or each contributor doing their own thing, or just trying to coordinate in sort of the normal open source Drupal way of, you know, issue here and issue there, and we're trying to be a much more collaborative and organized effort to move things much faster. At the moment, we just had another one sign up. So we have 32 partners. One just signed up. We need to onboard them soon. But we have a lot of contributors from those partners. So each partner comes in with what we call an FTE, a full-time equivalent, either one FTE or half FTE, depending on their sponsorship level. And that ends up being more than 50 contributors because some companies might have two or three contributors that are fulfilling on their pledge. And along with that, also partners come in and they provide some sponsorship money, and that money goes to managing the initiative as a whole, especially with like delivery management and program management. So there are a lot of different teams with the Drupal AI initiative. I'm part of the leadership team, but there are a bunch of us across many different areas. We have a huge marketing team, a really great UX team and QA team. We have the product team, innovation, and then we work very closely with the DA and also with the Drupal Canvas and the Drupal CMS teams. So here are our partners, minus the one that just signed up. So we'll get them on there soon. And yeah, so just a shout out to all of the AI initiative partners. Can't do this without you. It's been a really great collaboration. Another thing that came out uh, pretty recently was the roadmap for 2026. So there's also a blog post from Dries from February where you can check that out. And there's a number of capabilities that were outlined in that roadmap. These are the 8 capabilities that are part of the roadmap. I won't read them all to you. There's a lot of different stuff here, but the top 3 when this was voted on by the AI initiative partners were page generation, context management, and advanced governance. And we're making progress across most of these different capabilities, but we're definitely pushing forward those and some of the other ones more than maybe, multi-channel campaigns. Some of the ones are a little further out, though there has been some work made on those as well. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the second one, which is context management, because that's one of my hats. So for context management, we have a module called AI Context. It's also called Context Control Center, and it was demoed in the Dries Note. As actually part of the Dries Note in Vienna last year. It had just been born. That was something that Salsa put together just in the weeks prior to the Vienna Dries Note as a very, very rough prototype. And now we've been working on it heavily since Vienna. And it's a place that helps you organize your content, your rules, your terminology, all of this information so that it can deliver more accurate, relevant results with AI. So some concrete examples of what context is, it might be, FAQs or SEO rules, how you want to build certain types of pages, basically anything that you want to codify, make into text that we could provide to AI to do better at the types of tasks that it's doing, then that is what we would call context. So these are just some examples. Brand guidelines is a very common one that people would provide. So why do we care about this? And why does context matter? If you have no context or bad context, and you give that to an LLM or an agent, you can get generic guessy garbage. So the famous term AI slop, right? We don't want AI slop. That would be not great for our website. We don't want that. So instead, what you do is you take all the information from your team, your documentation, and try to put that all together so that the agent would be able to draw from the most relevant context for the task that it's doing, and then you can get accurate, authentic, aligned outputs instead. So the vision for Context Control Center is the source of truth for context connecting Drupal, external systems, and AI in one place. So that's sort of our North Star. And the features that we have available so far, context management. So Drupal is a CMS and context is content. So we have all of the normal content management things that you would expect with moderation, revisions, things like that. Also multilingual support, the built-in Markdown editor, because AI, LLMs tend to like Markdown, and it's also can also be easier for people to understand rather than a bunch of HTML or things like that. There's something called context scope, which lets you categorize your context by things like tags and sections of the site, use cases and languages, and scope it to what makes sense for that particular type of context. We have subcontexts where you can nest them underneath each other and for organizational reasons, or also provide conditional context so that only this subcontext would get pulled in certain use cases. There's a lot of logic behind the scenes for how these are selected. So far, we've been focused on agents in Drupal, though the system is being built in a way that could be leveraged for other types of use cases as well beyond agents. And we've been focused a lot on the admin experience and developer experience. So, dun, 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 we just released beta 2 last night, and it's available for you. We welcome beta testers, find those bugs, and figure out what other features you want and create an issue in the queue. So very excited for that. It was a lot of work. I think there were about 54 issues between beta 1 and beta 2. So thank you to everyone who contributed to that. And there's a blog post that went out last night as well. And that has a list of some of the top contributors in it, and also explains like all the different features that have been added, as well as a lot of performance and scalability tasks that were tackled as well. So check that out if you want more details on all of went out yesterday. As far as what's coming up, slated for June, we're hoping for a 1.0 release with all of the stuff that I just mentioned, and actually we might be able to pull in something from the 1.1, which was the common sources. We're just talking about that today. I think we should be able to fold that one in, so that'll probably bump over to the June bucket. And then in September, it might not be a full-blown 1.1, but hopefully at least a beta available for Rotterdam, where we're going to have a number of other features that are available in terms of, integrations with, different types of external or connected context from other systems and things like that, starter templates and things. So it's going to get just better and better. And the only way it gets better and better, though, is test that beta and let's squash all those bugs so that we can get that 1.0 release out. All right, coming up this week, maybe you already have tickets, but Suchi, one of my colleagues, is going to be talking about Context Control Center at Drupal South on May 14th. And also on May 14th in New York City, I will also be talking about Context Control Center at the New York City Drupal AI Summit. So if I don't remember exactly the gap, because obviously the 14th, so Australia is a day ahead, right? So you might be able to fly and see both of them if you really wanted to. And as far as some videos that are available from recent, events, we have the SF Doug video where I talk about the 2026 roadmap in more depth, and that recording is available. Also, I did a session with Aidan Foster of Foster Interactive at TripleCon Chicago, and that recording is available if you want a more in-depth view of the overview of CCC as well as a deeper dive into the context that went into the Dries note. So that's a really interesting talk if you want to understand CCC better. Then also, of course, don't forget, if you haven't seen it already, to watch the Chicago Dries Note because CCC and Canvas AI and other things are highlighted heavily in there to show the power. So I think, watching that first and then watching the one with me and Aiden is probably a good order. Then there was a lot of other sessions also in Chicago, tons of AI sessions and other things like site templates and things. So a lot of cool stuff that was showcased there that you should check out. And we've been going. So technically, we announced last June, though we started organizing in April of last year. So there was actually a blog post that went out last month, which talked about going from the conception last year April until this year. So one of the things that is really cool is at DrupalCon, Jamie, who's one of the leads at Freely Give, he put together this tag cloud to show like all the different contributors to the AI initiative in the last year. And we were part of a panel at an AI initiative panel in Chicago, and we showed this. And includes both Drupal AI partners, but also other community members and organizations that have contributed along the way. So pretty cool to have that level of coordination and collaboration. Other things that you can check out. So the Driesno Chicago demo, there's a repo available if you want to install it on your local. That's on the Foster Interactive GitHub. You could check that out, use DDev and install that locally. If you want to try it out in the cloud, there's also a Drupal Forge cloud install that you can test out. And then you don't have to install on your local machine. And there are other demos, of course, so not just Context Control Center, but there's a number of demos available for the AI initiative. So check those out at AI/demos, Drupal.org, and all sorts of fun stuff that you can do with Drupal AI. And if you're interested and you're not a partner yet, definitely come and join us. Feel free to DM me in Drupal Slack, and happy to answer any questions on joining the program. And there's plenty other ways of learning more. That roadmap that we talked about, Context Control Center, and a lot of other resources. The marketing team's been doing a fantastic job, so there's a lot of blog posts going out regularly from Drupal.org on a variety of topics for Drupal AI. So check that out. And yeah, open limitless possibilities with Drupal AI. So with that, I will call this good. Thanks for watching. If you want to reach out LinkedIn and Slack, Drupal Slack are probably the best ways of getting a hold of me, but there's also a contact form through Drupal.org. And of course, you could email me. But again, Slack is probably your best bet. So reach out and yeah, let me know what you think. There's also an AI context channel in Drupal Slack. So you can join that if you're doing beta testing, you have questions, you need some support. Come in and join us in the AI context channel in Drupal Slack. And we're going to make it more amazing and get a 1.0 release out real soon. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.